why people are avoiding relationships, bro. There have been so many memes, and by the way, I think that this is hilarious, but there have been so many memes of younger guys saying that dating in 2026 is a humiliation ritual.
Okay, wait,
I don't know why it's funny.
I just got home from a date. The guy walked out literally 10 minutes into our date. So we matched on Hinge, and I have really good photos of myself on Hinge. A few of them are AI generated. They look exactly like me.
Yeah.
If they look exactly like you, then why are you using AI generated images in the first place?
While we were out on our coffee / walking date, within like the first 15 minutes, he asked me where one of my photos was taken. I'm not a liar, so I said that it was an AI generated photo. And he said, yeah, I don't think we're a match. And he left. He left. That seems so dramatic to me. And also, like, everyone is using AI generated photos. If they look like you, who cares? The ones I use with Dream Month look exactly like me. They're not like the crappy ChatGPT ones. So what is the difference? Who cares? I'm
not gonna lie, even if you didn't look like the image, or even if you did look like the image, the type of person that is using AI generated images of themselves is probably not a person I would want to be with either. It just reminds me of like an aunt or a grandma on social media using AI. Like, why would you be doing that? And this is the part of the conversation that nobody is honest about. When you see these women go online talking about how they're being ghosted, they always fail to mention that they use pure manipulation and deception to get the guy there in the first place. And I've been hearing this a lot through anecdotal evidence of guys on these dating apps that say that, yeah, this is a big problem. There are a lot of ladies who don't feel like, look, bro, if it's one thing to wear makeup, I understand. You want to put your best foot forward, especially if you're getting to meet somebody or if you're putting out images because you're on a dating website. I get that. But it's a whole different thing when you're using the makeup to restructure your face into looking like something you don't actually look like. And you got to be honest with yourself. It's equivalent to a guy saying that he's 6'3" on a dating app, and then when you meet him, he's your height or shorter. That would be offensive to a lot of women, and a lot of women wouldn't tolerate that. But for some reason, when men don't tolerate deception, it's seen as like, misogynistic, or he's ghosting me, or whatever. Anything to say that what you're doing isn't the problem.
If you're a straight man, let me know. What do you think?
You've got to be kidding me. You're gaslighting, right? It's easy to see why the guy was mad. The most noticeable thing that it got rid of was your acne.
Yeah,
Less noticeable to guys, but her hair looks super dry and frizzy in real life compared to the AI photo. And last, I think the most important one, is that it removed wrinkles that are here, here, and here, which makes you look several years younger than you.
I must say, this woman in this picture or in this video, she looks like she could be about 33, 34. The girl in the image, the AI generated image, looks more like 23 to 24.
Actually are. But you know what? Good. I love the idea of women using AI photos on dating apps, because the more severe the catfish, the more people will stop trying to find relationships on their phone.
Yes.
These apps are cancer.
Definitely.
They're like if mobile game companies took over the relationship market. Anyway,
no, they're not like that. That's exactly what it is. Mobile game companies did take over the relationship market. That's actually exactly what it is.
It's been a while on this channel, so I thought we'd check back in with modern internet dating and see how it's going.
And ladies, even men who went to Harvard Business School are losers. I just went on a first date with a man. He picked a restaurant. I knew that this restaurant was a happening restaurant, but he picked it, and he went to Harvard. I thought that he knew to see if he was going to need a reservation. He went to Harvard.
If you don't think this is a made-up story for TikTok femcells, then you're an idiot.
If somebody's paying $200 for me to go to a happening restaurant, I'll make the reservation. Like, just let me know where we going. I'll call for the reservation. You ain't got to worry about nothing.
I believe this person more than I believe her.
I got catcalled twice on this walk.
No, you didn't. TikTok as a whole, especially the dating meta, is literally just the Arthur meme.
How do you know if any of this stuff is true?
You mean just lie? You really think someone would do that? Just go on the internet and tell lies?
That shit is so hilarious, and no matter how many times I watch this, it progressively gets funnier every year.
Yeah.
I just mean that some of the details...
Whoa.
More relevant than ever.
I never thought of that. This is terrible. What if none of it's true? What if they're all lying? How would we ever know?
If they only knew how many social media influencers would base their entire careers off of telling incredibly obvious lies that people are too stupid to recognize.
Yep.
I mean, how many men are taking dating advice on women from guys who are obviously in the closet, and how many women are taking pointers from other women who are obviously prostitutes?
Yeah.
I can't believe we still have women saying shit like this after relationship guru the wizard Liz got cheated on by a Pokimane simp.
My husband loves me for simply existing.
Oh,
How do you and your
man.
husband split finances?
We don't. This is not a two-way street. This is a one-way street.
his money is our money and my money is my money.
And I just think now, like, people are like, oh, that's gold digging or that's something. No, it's not.
Okay, then I'm digging.
Yeah,
It's just so weird that there are so many women that want to be able to treat men like tricks, but then they don't expect to be treated like hoes. Like, if you want a man that's a trick, then what would that make you?
Holy shit, this chick is married. Well, ultimately, I blame the man in this situation because as bad as all the catfishing and TikTok advice is, it's not nearly as problematic as the people who willingly choose the wrong partners, despite everyone trying to warn them.
Yeah.
However, it is
it's
entertaining
crazy.
to watch them double down publicly, especially if I don't like them, so let's talk about it. The woman you just saw is Jesslyn Singh. She's the wife of an Indian stand-up comedian named Akash, and she has a podcast and a TikTok account where she started cannibalizing the career of her husband for views by openly talking about what a degenerate she is.
Sometimes I get so painfully nostalgic for college. So for context, I went to college from 2011 to 2016. I was popping my and living my best life in these white boy frat houses. And I had a roster of guys that I would rotate.
So lesson number 1 of the internet is to keep your mouth shut.
Yes.
Everyone should treat the internet like a police encounter instead of like a therapist. Anything you say can and will be used against you by your enemies.
Yes, bro. That's exactly what it is. I like how he put that. Like, there are people that are building these parasocial relationships with other people by putting their lives online like a diary, and then they let these people who they built these parasocial relationships with, who, by the way, the only reason why they even build these relationships with them is because they make similar horrible decisions, and then they let these people dictate how they operate their lives. They listen to the advice of these people that they build parasocial relationships with. I don't know why people treat online like a therapist or like a diary, but it's crazy.
Especially if your husband is in a male-centered space like a comedy podcast.
Right.
Akash, did you not sit your wife down and tell her that it's a bad idea to talk about how promiscuous she was in college? Clearly he didn't, because that's not even the worst thing that she did.
He's on my hall pass list.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Chase Crawford, Jacob Elordi, Austin Butler, and who else? Dean Thomas from the Harry Potter movies.
Bro, and the craziest part about this is Akash was talking to Myron. And look, regardless of what you believe, anytime you say these names, people run straight to comments. What are you saying? Myron was blah, blah. I'm just saying, in this case specifically, Myron was saying stuff about not wanting to date black women, and Akash pointed that out as a big issue because you should have loyalty to your race. And look, whatever. But I do think that it's funny that he does have that loyalty to his race, but then when his wife names out all of the people that she wants to have a hall pass with, none of them are Indian men. Not a single one of those men on that list were Indian men.
I'll ever have an orgy together with your husband.
Priya, I'm actively trying to have an orgy because this couple is so fucking good looking, and you haven't seen Nav yet, but wait till you fucking see him. His body goes crazy. His face card always slays, never declines. And it's kind of weird because I'm talking about your husband.
There's a difference being
she just got a running start, then dove in the air and caught his meat with her mouth. Like, that is crazy work. She's doing tricks on it right now, bro.
Scammer and being a hustler. Two very different things.
Okay.
I'm a hustler who scams a little bit.
Right.
I'm not a scammer who hustles.
I'm not gonna lie, that was sexy, and that's why I'm actively trying to have
sexy.
This is a divorce moment right here. If my wife told me that she wanted to have sex with her best friend's husband, said it numerous times on the podcast, and then brought me on to talk about it while she flirts with that guy right in front of me, I would be calling my lawyer and drafting up papers.
Insane.
Now, for all the people saying that these situations are just random and you can never tell if a woman will treat you like this in the future,
there's always
know
signs.
that people always show signs that they aren't worth marrying if you wait a little bit before making a commitment.
And to be honest, you don't even need to wait that long. If you're used to having interactions with women, whether that be through female friends, through sisters, or just women that you are actively dating, it's pretty easy to tell the difference between a woman who has a more promiscuous mindset versus a woman that has more of a traditional mindset. It's pretty easy to see.
This one was obviously a bad idea. Her and her friend's entire personalities are TikTok.
Like, you don't have to justify your presence as, you know, wanting to be in your divine feminine energy and staying at home and not having as much stress.
I didn't wish
See,
her.
brother, you have to understand the vocabulary. There are so many guys getting taken advantage of because they don't understand vocabulary. There are just certain words and terms. I was finding myself. Divine feminine. When you hear those types of words, that should be in the vocabulary. You run away when you hear words like divine feminine. There's only one type of woman I know that use those types of words, and that's what I'm talking about. The signs are always there if you just pay attention and you're not blinded by thinking with the wrong head.
A happy across
month?
her happy birth month.
Nah,
happy birth week.
Gotta stop.
Happy birthday Eve.
Eve today. He didn't wish me happy birthday.
Happy
Eve.
birthday, Eve.
Yes.
That was like
Made
watching
up.
a horror film. I mean, everybody makes mistakes, but there comes a point where you have to be honest about your situation and do what's necessary.
Right.
But of course, they didn't do that, which is why this is entertainment. So Akash and his wife started going viral because of clips like this, and I have to say that this is a no-win situation for these two. They screwed up badly, and the only thing they can do is shut up and wait 2 weeks for everyone to forget about it.
Right.
Because the reality was that most of Akash's fans didn't know about any of this, and it was just drama YouTubers making fun of them, so they could have just stayed quiet.
Yeah, it's because nobody needed to know about it. Nobody even cared. It's not related to the thing that you do to make money. You tell jokes and make people laugh for a living. She was the one who decided to put all that information out there for the world to dissect. Once you put stuff like that out there, there's just nothing you can do to control it anymore, and this is why certain information should just stay private.
But instead of being smart and keeping the hate isolated to people who don't even watch them, they decide to do a podcast where Akash looks super uncomfortable the whole time, and we are assured that everything that Jesleen said was just a misunderstanding.
The repressed Indian girl that I didn't even watch Jersey Shore in high school because I felt it to be too inappropriate. So when I got to college, I'm like, oh my God, I can dress however I want. I can do whatever I want.
You can have a roster of frat boys.
What does a roster mean?
So it didn't actually translate to a roster. It just meant like 2 guys I was talking to and flirting with at the same time. That's it.
That's all.
Okay, so even if this is the case, why do you still have the podcast where you're still doing the thing? If your defense is that I was just so ignorant that I was just saying things I didn't know that they actually meant, and the world just took it out of context. If that's the case, then maybe you shouldn't have a podcast where you're sitting down for hours saying things. If you don't understand the cultural difference between saying something like hooking up and popping my pee, then maybe you just shouldn't have the podcast.
When you say hooking up, I think people
When
think you
I
meant
mean
fucking.
hooking up, I just meant making out. Again, like everything I say is so amplified and hyperbolic because it's so like incongruous to who I actually am as a person.
Right. So you're saying you're a big old prude.
Yeah, literally.
Let me just say, as a person who uses Twitter, I don't think saying that you're Indian as an excuse for your behavior is going to make people trust you.
Oh, yeah,
I have
facts.
IBS. There's no way.
I do have IBS.
Indian food's never going to beat the allegations.
Yeah, man.
So
tough.
Jesleen is claiming that she's innocent and was a virgin until she met Akash, but I don't believe her at all. If you listen to both episode 6 and episode 7 of her podcast, it's apparent that she's had sexual contact with multiple men, even saying that being good at oral is a green flag. How would she know how to judge that if she's only been with one person?
Oh,
Best
man.
case scenario is that she's trying to misrepresent herself on the lines of technically being a virgin because she didn't have vaginal intercourse. Though I don't believe her on that either, because trying to push your close friends into group sex is not the move of someone who has only had sex with one person. Neither is wearing incredibly revealing clothing on Instagram.
Yeah, I knew a girl like that when I was in college. She said that she was a virgin, and the things that people said, of course, it could be all rumors, the things that people were saying that she was doing were worse than if you just did the thing, if you ask me.
So there's no way she didn't understand American cultural norms like the meaning of hooking up as the wife of someone who used to be on a show called Guy Code where they talked about stuff like that.
Right.
Also, the prostitute philosophy about how a guy should value you just for existing around him doesn't make her look innocent either.
Yeah.
This entire podcast just makes Jesleen look worse, and
Clown
it makes
show.
Akash look like a loser. Right here was probably the most telling moment for me.
You're cool with him just getting a hand job massage.
Totally.
Are you
Yeah, I know.
Yes, I've said that it's less work for me.
Can you talk to our wives?
I don't believe this. Can I tell you why I don't believe this? You remember Horrible Decisions?
Yeah.
You guys were like, dude, I think your girl will be down. She keeps saying how pretty Wheezy is. And I was like, even then, I was like, no, the fuck. She's all talk. She's all bluster. That's why I haven't tested the hand
A
job thing.
paper tiger.
She's our dog. She's a yapping little dog behind a fence.
I'm guessing she thinks that this is like a 4D chess move to cover up for the fact that she wants to cheat. She's only saying it's okay for him to do it because, for one, she knows that he won't. And because, two, if she does cheat, she can say, well, yeah, but I said that you could do it if you wanted to. Nobody who actually loves you and is emotionally connected would allow a hall pass. This is one of those moments where a really bad person is trying to LARP as a good person, but doesn't actually know what a good person would say in that moment. So anything she says just further exposes her. The correct move was to apologize to her husband, ignore the haters, never bring this up again, and stop oversharing and treating the internet like your therapist.
Yeah, just completely get away from the internet because you're not an interesting person and you have nothing interesting to say. So all you're going to do is say stuff like this to make yourself seem interesting. And it's going to keep ruining your relationship and marriage.
Akash, you're on the road a lot as a comedian. I would not trust this chick to be faithful when you aren't around.
Right.
Because when it comes to people like Jesleen, I think the reality is that they actually despise the person that they're with, which is why she treats them poorly and can't help but say inappropriate stuff. I think a part of the gaslight from Akash on this is that Jesleen, like, slept on the floor with him one time when he was broke, but also they broke up when he was broke, and she mysteriously got back together with him right around the time that he started making money again, which is suspicious considering all the gold digger ideology that comes out of her mouth. However, no matter how ride or die she was in the past, I don't think that justifies her present treatment of her significant other. Now, they haven't had any drama since, as far as I've seen, and her podcast appears to have been canceled, so hopefully Akash and his wife have learned their lesson. But speaking of people who are much further down the line of publicly displaying how unhealthy their relationship dynamic is, allow me to introduce you to Anissa Joma and her husband, Ian Joma, formerly known as Ian Washburn.
The only reason why we chose my name over his last name is because his last name is like just objectively ugly. It's just like an ugly last name. Like Washburn sounds horrendous.
In the past, you might have recognized Anissa as the prostitute Twitch streamer girlfriend of the once popular creator iDubbbz, who was famous for doing a creator deep dive series called Content Cop that was very well liked by a huge portion of the internet.
Bro, I've been seeing so much drama in the streaming sphere about iDubbbz. Like, I've been seeing a bunch of thumbnails. I don't really know who he is, and I've never went down the lore, but I'm interested in hearing it now.
But in more recent years, it's become obvious that she wears the pants in the relationship, and therefore she has graduated from being called iDubbbz's girlfriend and earned herself her own name.
Can we chill on like asking if Ian's here or whatever? Like, I get it's funny or whatever, but I've spent like the past 4 years living in his shadow, so to speak, and like I've been trying to do my own thing on the internet for 7 years before I even met him, and it is painful. I'd rather have 5 people want to be here for me than like a bunch asking for Ian. Thanks.
Congrats, Anissa. Now you're the star. Talking about you now draws far more interest than talking about iDubbbz.
Yeah, these are the videos I've seen, bro. Like, I'll see so many of these thumbnails of talking about streamer drama. It's crazy. It must be a lot going on in the streaming community. Yeah, but this is like a common thing for guys who are streamers. They bring these girls onto their live streams, and after these girls pretty much just suction all of the life or a bunch of their simp fans over to their platforms, they leave them or they just treat them poorly throughout the entire process. This is normal when it comes to live streaming. This is why anytime you have a woman that wants to be in the public eye, generally speaking, that's not a woman that subscribes to more traditional beliefs.
You made it, and all you had to do was take the career of your husband so that it would be easy for you to outshine him. Personally, I think this is the move of a true anti-capitalist.
I'm more extreme than Ian, where I'm like pretty anti-capitalist. I hate landlords.
Now, for those of you who have jobs and don't have time to keep up with all the iDubbbz drama over the past 5 years, basically what happened is that iDubbbz, or Ian, got into a relationship with Anissa. Anissa has always wanted to be a popular streamer, but she's untalented, so she's jealous of the success of her husband. Because she's jealous, instead of being happy for her partner's success, she constantly sabotages his career by publicly shaming him, and instead of getting rid of this girl who obviously doesn't love him, Ian defends her, and even more damning in terms of social media, he stopped making content that people like.
Man, there's nothing more sad than seeing a desperate man claw for a woman who obviously doesn't like him. It's just so sad to see. And you'd be surprised at how many of these desperate men are actually wealthy men. There are so many guys who believe that just because they have money, it's going to make girls like them. Trust me, it's not just about the money. If you believe that, you're going to end up being a rich simp. It's crazy.
Now, like I said with Jesleen, the blackpilling part of this is that oftentimes in these cases, people just see the end result and make claims that you can never tell if your partner will end up like this or not. But the reality is that girls like Anissa and Jesleen always show signs that they will become like this in the future early on in the relationship. In Anissa's case, it was day one.
2016 would also be the year Anissa would begin her relationship with the once popular YouTuber, iDubbbz. This relationship started out as all healthy ones do, with Anissa cheating on her ex-boyfriend in order to be with Ian. That's right, before Anissa and Ian began dating, Anissa was in an active relationship with another League of Legends streamer named Acadian. Anissa and Acadian began dating around late 2015, and this relationship lasted until the first day Anissa would meet Ian.
I don't know how you can see this as a man and be like, yeah, she definitely won't treat me like that, right? And when I say this, understand that Anissa started treating Ian like shit very early on. They got together in 2016, And in 2017, she was already being incredibly inappropriate with a YouTuber named Chris Ray Gun, who was also in a relationship with someone else at the time.
Anissa being attracted to other men is a common trope when she's in a relationship.
Jeez.
Another man Anissa had a crush on around this time was named Chris Ray Gun. Anissa would also show her romantic interest on Chris on Twitter, where she tweeted out a shirtless photo of him with the caption full of thirsting and squirt emojis.
Man, and then here's the problem, right? Like, I have a lot of sympathy for guys who end up in these types of situations, but for guys who end up in these types of situations that are completely obvious, but they refuse to have the balls to stand up for themselves, it becomes hard to feel sympathy for them. Because unfortunately, especially as a man, if you let people take advantage of you, they probably will. And you're also going to attract more people that want to take advantage of you because they see that you're a person that can be taken advantage of. And that's just the unfortunate reality. So if you refuse to stand up for yourself in your life, you're just always going to be a person that's taken advantage of.
You know, personally, I think it's inappropriate to publicly post about your celebrity crushes when you're in a relationship.
Yeah, definitely.
But I can look past that because it's like a fantasy. However, in Anissa's case, her celebrity crush that she is openly fangirling over while she's in a relationship with iDubbbz is someone she regularly interacts with. And really, I think the breaking point for Ian Joma was around 5 years ago when Anissa opened up an OnlyFans account. He got backlash and was like, actually, I'm okay with being a cuck.
For those of you who are unaware of the drama I recently brought upon myself, I'll fill you in. My girlfriend started an OnlyFans account, which is a website where you can upload amateur porn. I think all of it is cool. I'm okay with sex workers and girls being slutty. It has no bearing on my life whatsoever.
Oh, no, he's done. And this is exactly what they want. Let's give it up. That's a strong man right there. That's a strong man right there.
Someone who watched this video the day it came out, I love watching it 5 years later, knowing that this decision had such a huge effect on Ian's life that he's now so poor that he streams on the ground. I hope that in the current year, we've all started to see how toxic these open-minded beliefs are. It turns out that traditional values and prejudices were correct the whole time.
Right.
Now, normally I would say this is sad, but iDubbbz is such a backstabbing POS that I enjoy every clip I see of Anissa shaming him.
If I look at you, even in like the viewfinder, extremely masculine chin, which is also why I like the buzz cut, because it like emphasizes your chin, and your like heavy brow. Like, I would argue you have one of the most... Part of the reason why I don't want to have a child with you is because I'm terrified if we have a girl that she's going to have all your masculine features.
Isn't that interesting? I think about that a lot.
Yeah. I have never met somebody who has such an eagle face. Like, you have a very strong brow, which is very...
My brother in Christ, she just said that she doesn't want to have children with you ever because you're ugly. She just said that your genetics are inferior. She would not even want to spread your genes with you because your genetics are that inferior. I mean, I don't know how much more obvious it could be.
Attractive on men. To be honest, there's a lot of attractive women that have that as well, like Kristen Stewart.
Yeah.
But combined with me,
Kristen Stewart,
I think the combination would
Twilight
be bad
Girl
for a woman.
I think you're tripping.
I don't know.
Holy shit, never in my best dreams would I have imagined a clip as great as iDubbbz looking like he's expressing interest in having kids towards the end. But Anissa says she thinks he's too ugly.
Yeah.
I wonder if she would have said that about Chris Ray Gun.
I actually don't think there's a world
where I appeal to straight women.
You could appeal to straight
You know what?
women.
I think you're right. Someone said, is there a look that appeals to everyone?
Hassan Abi appeals to everyone.
Oh my God. I will never get people who think it's okay to publicly shame their partner. For one, the more you shame your partner, the worse it makes you look because you're the one stupid enough to be with a loser.
Exactly.
And two, in my opinion, this is a breakup move. It would be an argument the first time it happened, and then it would be the end of the relationship if the behavior were repeated.
Yeah, but there are just some guys that have been shamed out of having standards and boundaries, and they're told that their woman should be able to treat them any old way, and you just have to accept it because a strong man accepts any type of treatment from the people that they keep around them. I think as a man, you got to have strict boundaries, and you got to be willing to walk away. Because if you're not willing to walk away, then you have no negotiation power. And once somebody figures out that you're not willing to walk away, they can treat you however they want, and you're not going to do anything about it. You're not even willing to have the decency and self-respect to leave.
Because your job as a significant other is to be your partner's biggest cheerleader when it comes to how they're seen in public. And if they aren't doing that, then in my opinion, they're trash. Not to say that people can't communicate with friends and family to process difficult parts of the relationship, but if your wife is just unnecessarily shitting on you in public constantly, then that's a sign that you need to get rid of this person.
This is a great Anissa moment. You know her eternal quest to humiliate him? So this is a new chapter.
I don't know if chat can back me up. No. AFABs, gay men, whatever. The bigger the dick, the worse it's sex. Like a lot of men that have...
Just the premise alone, he's trapped.
Oh, man.
He's trapped from the beginning. Either he, A...
The big one's hurt. I like yours because the big one's hurt.
is bad at sex, or B, has a tiny penis.
Yeah.
There's no escape.
I don't know if chat can back me up.
Nope. Back me up, chat.
Again, this would be really sad if iDubbbz weren't a terrible person. I mean, Anissa just like has professional levels of spite for her husband. There are multiple levels here. First, there's like no correct answer here. There's just a less bad one.
Right.
And two, you get to hear about your partner having sex with other men. She's flaunting her sexual experience publicly, while iDubbbz doesn't have any outside of his wife because Anissa is his first girlfriend.
And that's what you'll find in the mentality of like women who are super promiscuous. They just, I don't know what it is about it. They can't help but to flaunt the fact that they're promiscuous. They can't help but to continually throw it in your face that they were having a good time before they were with you and the things that they were doing before they were with you. For some reason, I don't know what it is about women who are promiscuous, but that's one of the easiest signs. A woman that talks about her past sexual experiences, especially in front of the man that she's with. That's crazy.
And you know what? Everyone's got to start somewhere, and certainly it's better than being used up, so I don't blame him for that. But the part where I lose respect is the part where he just lets this chick walk all over him.
I've met Ian. I've talked to Ian. I've seen his content over the years. Ian is an asshole, but he's also a very passive, live and let live,
that's usually
kind
what it
of easygoing guy. He's not a confrontational, aggressive, hostile person. His girlfriend, though, I think absolutely is. I can guarantee you that whenever there's a conflict, she's the one getting mad and he's the one saying like, bro, like, stop. I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with this, right? And so that's, I think, kind of what happened. If you've ever been in a relationship with a really domineering, aggressive, hostile person like Anissa seems to be, you would know how much that kind of puts your entire mind into like a brain fog. You're in survival mode. Exactly. You're constantly in fight or flight around this person.
But then there's so many people that know that they're in that situation and they just stay because they're desperate. And that's the only reason why I could think they would do it. I don't understand why you would torture yourself to stay in a relationship with somebody that hates you. It has to be because of desperation.
And you also like them, but there's this element of them that's like extremely mercurial, aggressive, and seemingly so in a random way. That, to me, sucks the life force out of a person so fast it is insane.
This is probably true. Actually, allow me to add nuance because I don't think iDubbbz sees it like this. I think if you asked him, he would say he does stand up for himself, but the problem is that it doesn't work.
Like, as our relationship went on, I share a lot. He's wanted me to share less. I've wanted him to share more. We've started to meet in the middle.
Yeah, so they probably have talked about Anissa making him look bad numerous times, but she knows he's not brave enough to do something like leave her, and because there's no threat of negative consequences, it just falls on deaf ears.
That's exactly what it is.
Instead, she does whatever she wants and continues to treat the internet like her therapist by oversharing, which further adds to the pile of public blackmail against iDubbbz. All of this makes me think about a book I read called Good to Great. It's a book about how good businesses transition into becoming the top businesses. So it's about companies, but if you're smart, the ideas are universally applicable.
And I think that it's always good to look at relationships as business to some degree because a woman or the woman you choose to marry is always going to be your biggest investment. It is quite literally signing the marriage contract, signing those documents are quite literally the biggest decision, the biggest business decision or decision that has to do with your money that you're probably going to make in your entire life. And oftentimes the best way to judge a good investment is to look at the history of the investment. No good investor takes on an investment without looking at the history of the investment and what it's done in the past. And if you refuse to just do that basic due diligence and actually take action based on that due diligence, then you're going to end up in a situation like this. Not only is this person the biggest investment that you're going to make financially, but it's also a huge investment as to what goes on in your life. Like, this is the person that's going to be coaching your daughter. Do you really want this type of person to have influence over what your daughter thinks about life and how your daughter is going to operate during life?
Universally applicable idea comes from chapter 3, where the research team for that book found out that it's not a well-written business plan or favorable market conditions that cause a business to become a top company and sustain their success. The most important thing for a successful business are the people in the room.
Yep.
Competent and good people are so important that it's not even worth it to develop a business plan until you have the right people in the room.
True.
This is very much something that was said a lot about the founder of Apple, Steve Jobs, and the biography that was written on him. He always wanted to be around A players and not the C or the D team. But where I'm going with this is that it certainly is also true when it comes to relationships. Everyone thinks they can pull someone out of the bargain bin and mold them into the perfect partner.
Yep.
When the reality is that if someone's not already motivated to be great, you won't convince them.
Right.
So if you're having long talks about how people need to change or be better and nothing ever changes or gets better, the correct answer is to not continue doing that.
Exactly.
The answer is to go find someone who has already figured it out or is motivated to figure it out. Once you have found that person, the next step to a healthy relationship is to not demotivate them by falling into your bad habits. As for your exes, don't feel bad about breaking off their relationship because for the most part, if someone is resistant to change, then the only way they're going to learn is through suffering and loss.
Yeah.
And by shielding them from that, you're only prolonging their mediocrity.
Well, if you know how hard it is to change yourself and your own habits, you should really understand how hard it is to change somebody else and their habits. And generally speaking, when it comes to change, people are going to change when they decide that they want to change.
It says that if you can't find the right person for the position, then keep looking. The wrong people are so disastrous that it's better that no one fill the role than to have it filled with the wrong person. I know looking can be frustrating, but taking anyone who applies, or if you're an employee, going with any company who will have you because you're desperate is how you get into a situation like iDubbbz or Akash, who, from the looks of it, are really just holding on to their partners because they're the first person who paid attention to them, and they're too weak to break up to find someone who is a better fit.
And there are so many women now that know that they have this leverage, especially with people talking about male loneliness epidemics and all these other things. They know that you have nowhere to go. And there are some women that are just willing to take advantage of that fact and treat you however they want because they know you have nowhere else to go. This video, by the way, is by Think Before You Sleep. This guy always puts out good content. Let me know in the comments below if this video was a W or L, and give me the HBO special. That's Help Brother Out special. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. Till next time.